Hi everyone. So this is another Friday where we have the CBWN Film Night Chats. And so today we are discussing a book called SARA'S Notebook. No, sorry, not a book. A film called SARA'S Notebook. I watched this film in the afternoon and I think I was so touched. I thank God I didn't watch it so late at night because I could have asked myself, why? This film is so deep. It is so real. And the writer, I think, was so detailed. Every word is like so intentional. The director planned it so well so that when you look at the images, you see the blood. It is not overly done, but the expressions on the actors, the words are few and more movement and more emotion. And I was like, wow. And then even the set, when I reached the part where now they are in the down deep in the forest and all these wars taking place and they reach at the hawk's place and they're captured and they're trying to get off from that place, though pretending that some are reporters so that they can get information. And you look at how all this was intertwined, the journalist and Sarah's search for her sister. And when she meets her sister, you ask yourself, how did all these stories come together? And for me, that's what I call good storytelling. And this, for me, was a really lovely story because, yes, it is a story done by the Europeans, but it's in the African setting. And I don't know what to say, but the young man who acted Jamir, oh, that boy is great. His emotions, his eyes, his stare. I don't want to say that that was just the director, but I think that was very good casting. I think he did a very impressive job. His stares and his moments really made us feel deep what exactly he felt in his soul. And for a moment, you ask yourself, if you've never met a child soldier, then you truly met one in that movie. And for now, I'll invite Nana Wanjau. Nana is the chairperson, CBWN, to be able to open this show for today and tell us what she thought. Hi, Nana. Unmute.
Yes, unmute.
Hi.
Dr. Zippy, I am the chairperson of Commonwealth Business Women Network, Kenya.
Yes.
There is a different chair for the global CBW.
For the CBWN,
so
yes.
I can't give somebody's titles.
The title. They'll be like, the Kenyans promoted her to global.
Dr. Zippy,
Yes.
this movie is based on real facts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are things that if you are old enough and you remember the hunger of Ethiopia, you remember the child wars in Sierra Leone, and then of course DRC. These are real life events, and I hear, unfortunately, it's not been completely eradicated. There are still child soldiers deep in the jungles under the kind of leadership of Commander Hawk, protecting mines, you know, whether it is gold, whether it is diamonds. We've heard a lot about bloody diamonds, and in this case, it was coltan. So, to this movie, you know, the fact that it is based on real life events was very, very traumatizing for me, because these are things that happen even in this day and age, despite conferences and governments and leaders coming together and the civil society. These kind of things takes the commitment of the government, but there is also another angle. There is the ability for the government to implement some of these rules and laws and regulations and control and sustainability. So in our governments, there is that lack of, it's not just the commitment angle, it is also the ability to sustain and have control over these kind of things, because these things are, the people behind these are huge conglomerates, huge institutions are behind these. USA, and of course, right at the top of the food chain is China. China is the biggest buyer of coltan currently.
Minerals,
Yes, because they make a lot of electronics. Now, you and I, where we are right now, are each carrying a mobile phone. We are on laptops. We are on computers. All these things contain this mineral that is being protected by child soldiers. It's very sad that it gets to that reality that we are buying products, or in other cases, if it's not in this case, we would say wearing, the way people used to wear fur from real animals, apply products that are, endangered species. But in this particular case, you and I could be carrying phones, laptops that have children soldiers, blood on them, literally.
When you say that, that's so sad, Nana. When you say that, I'm feeling guilty for having my phone.
No, I think we should feel guilty because that consciousness is what will rally you and I being a voice against things like this. Once we are conscious and we feel guilty, then you and I, when we are buying, we decide whom are we buying our phones from. For example, I know specifically that Apple and some other organizations have taken some steps to ensure that the minerals they are buying are from, they are now vetting their suppliers. They have put rules and regulations. This mineral cannot be produced by children. Secondly, the mines must have human rights standards that are respected. So companies like Apple are beginning to go that extra mile to ensure that their products do not have children's blood or anyone's blood for that matter on them. So you and I, as the end consumer, we will get to that level where we are buying a product from a certain organization because we know it is in the forefront in implementing human rights at the source and also protecting the children. Because in this movie, you see these young boys and girls carrying machetes, AK-47s, knives, anything that can kill and maim. They go into the village.
Nana.
Oh, did I move you there? I can see you. Hello? Hello? I actually can see you, Dr. Zippy, and I can even hear you.
I think my net just buffered.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I hope you are back.
Yes, now I think I can see myself, so I'm back. It went blank.
Okay. I can go back a little bit. Where did you live? Where was I when you went black?
When we are making a conscious decision, like there are organizations that have insisted that they don't buy from where child soldiers are.
Yes, and then I say in the movie we see these child soldiers carrying machetes, AK-47s, anything that can kill and maim, and they rape. They are killing men. They are raping women. And then they loot, obviously, and they take away the children, boys and girls, to raise as child soldiers. Why? Because the likes of Commander Hawk, they need their minds protected by somebody. But they also want the child labor. So for as long as, and by the way, DRC produces 80% of the world's cotton. So the mineral is there in abundance. I was having this conversation with a gentleman, and they said, I think they should close those mines. And I was saying, no. The idea
is not to close. Yeah.
Because God put those minerals there to serve these people. What we need are regulations. What we need are governments who will be held liable. What we need are organizations that are producing these gadgets to put measures and to put restrictions on their suppliers. to say that they will not buy any mineral that is mined by a child or any mineral where human rights are being violated. Because even the men who go into those mines to dig those pits with bare hands and crude implements, those mines, the walls collapse on those men. They die in there like animals. They have no protection. They have no medical cover. And yet they need to work to serve to look after their families.
And just on that point, Nana, just remember when I think of it, I see there was that one doctor in the whole mine area, and you're like, how?
Yeah, because it's not a priority.
Yeah.
That's why we are saying, when we say don't close the mines, because the population, the locals, still need to earn money. Currently, 70% of the population live under poverty lines. They need to earn money. They need to feed their families. It's a question of making the rules, holding the government, the leadership, into accountability, making sure that the mines practice human rights, they have medical cover, the children are removed from the mines. This is an opportunity for those mines to become a source of growth and provide jobs for the locals, instead of them being insecurity and job hiring children. It should not be like that. It should be a place where decent people can earn a decent living in a safe environment. So it's quite. I think with time we are getting there. Once you see companies in the likes of Apple, that level, beginning to make their demand on the suppliers that we will not buy minerals from you that are not produced in safety, with safety environments for the workers, that's the beginning. Secondly, you and I, as consumers now, will start buying only from companies that have taken deliberate steps to ensure that the raw material they are bringing in is actually produced under humane conditions. Now, you talked about the doctor, who was the only doctor in the mine. And at the end, I was so saddened when she refused to go back with her doctor. But I realized that in life, each one runs their race.
Yeah.
You can't run my race, and I can't run your race, even if we are twins. Everybody runs their race. And despite the love of the sister and the father wanting her back home, that lady was running her race. And she was at peace, and she was happy doing what she was doing in what you and I would consider horrible conditions.
Horrible, insecure, away from family, no pay, as in there are all reasons to leave, but she stayed,
She stayed. But you see why they want those children at that age is because you are able to indoctrinate them. Yes, at that age, they will do anything you want them to do. They will call you God. They will obey you. That's why they have to take the children.
When I watched that story, and I was, and right now looking at what's happening in America, we're like, this is the same thing. The slave trade, they picked the young, most agile of our African youth, and they took them there. We might say that, it's only Americans who took us as slaves, but even as we are here, we are also still using the same tactics that they used against us, that the colonizers used against us. So really, I don't even see the difference. Yeah. Yes.
Well, there is, as I said, in the governments are in this. they close a blind eye onto some of these irregularities, the black market. They pretend they don't see it, and yet the soldiers are everywhere. They are around. They can see what's happening. But for as long as the leadership is making money, they will ensure that there is instability in that area so that not everybody can come in. You can't go in there, Dr. Zippy, and say, I want to buy land. It will never happen, because that space is already occupied by the top leadership of the nation. And they bring in the Chinese, and they bring in the Americans, and they pay top dollar. And yet the locals who are digging in these mines with their bare hands, they actually bear the cost of the mineral. They pay all the taxes. They pay all the fees. When I listened to a documentary earlier on, and this man was saying that he has to borrow money from his Chinese boss to buy food for his family. But he works in the mines for 12 hours a day. By the end of the day, because they pay the taxes and they pay any fee, it's on the employee, not the government. So by the time he's paid his peanuts, he can't even go home to buy food for his family. So they are in a loop. They will never leave, because they get the loans from the Chinese boss. They can never repay those small loans ever. So they are always.
So you're threatened. Like,
and then their children.
Now, to continue paying the loan.
Exactly. When you can't pay, you bring your child. I mean, it's a vicious circle. It is modern slavery. Africans enslaving ourselves in our own countries.
Yeah.
And selling the raw material at peanuts to the Chinese and the Americans. And by the time the end product comes back, as usual, we can't afford it.
And not just for gold. For even right now, we are mining fuel in Lake Turkana. We are sending, as in, I think. But I just want to hope that with this corona, this COVID pandemic, Africa has shown so much potential that we can produce a lot of stuff that, and from the raw material to the end result. And so even if we are borrowing, I hope that this will be a lesson that we can survive. And if we need to borrow, then we just need to share a few costs here.
Well, and now that we've digressed from the movie onto Corona,
everything is about Corona now.
I must say that this time is a time of opportunity and learning for Africa. What we are realizing, and in fact, by the way, we learned just the other day in one of our Commonwealth Business Women Network forums that the Africa Free Continental Trade Agreement was to be in effect in 1st of July. I'm sure it still will be, but probably different with a little bit of adjustments here and there. But now seeing that our dependability on China and Europe and the Western, now here we are, we've realized we've really got to manufacture our own products, and we have to do our own intra-Africa trade. So it's an eye-opener for us as Africa to start trading, connecting, first of all, within the African countries, looking for opportunities, looking for partnerships, looking for business, and now start working the intra-African free trade agreement. But we digress, as I said, Dr. Zippy, from the movie. Let's go back to the movie.
Okay, Nana. So let me say thank you.
Let me touch on this, on the humanity. I saw a humanity that cuts across culture, border, race, age. Was it Laura?
The black woman. Yes.
The black woman and Laura. I mean, There was no race, there was no color, there was no age, there was no rich, there was no poor. It was just humanity at play,
Yeah.
helping one human being helping another. And really, I know that is who we are at the core of humanity. The rest is
Yeah.
just us putting on, screens. But really, when you bring it down to reality, we human
Yeah.
beings, when you cut our skin, the color of blood is the same. It's red, regardless of where you come from. I just loved that connection between the two women that
Mm-hmm.
brought out the humanity in us. Thank you, Dr.
Yes.
Zippy. I know you've got
Thank
a full
you.
range of guests today.
I'm telling you, people with experience.
I am sitting here and listening and taking notes.
Yeah. So, but thank you so much for that beginning. You know, a good start keeps us alive to the end. When you start with fire, even now the guests are like, they have to pick from there. So thank you so much. Our first guest is going to be Dr. Linda Ogallo. Dr. Linda Ogallo is a climate change expert, and she works with at different organizations. She'll tell us herself if she wishes. But she has also really worked with quite a number of NGOs in terms of rehabilitation or refugees, because you realize that a lot of these issues to do with the war are also climate change issues. So they really work a lot in those kind of scenarios. So Linda, hi Linda.
Hi.
Yes, tell us more about yourself and your work before we delve into the discussion. Nana, let me stream you out.
Thank you.
Yes, Linda.
Yeah, so as you said, Linda Ogallo. Right now I work with climate change issues, but before that I was working in peace and security issues and project management. So I've worked in conflict areas like Somalia, post-conflict areas like Somalia. So I do have exposure to issues related to conflict. Yeah.
Actually, that's the reason why I brought you in as one of our panelists. Because of your experience in peace and conflict. You know, the one thing, I have a sister who works with also another NGO, and we tell them, like, okay, you people have been solving these issues every time. Funny, they don't end. But I'm like, is it a business? So now you need to tell us. Is peace and conflict a business, or are people truly trying to solve a humanitarian issue?
I think it's a complex issue because, again, anything that involves resources is never going to be simple, because everything is about a struggle of resources. Like at the core of it's always who's going to get the most. Everybody wants a piece of the pie. So as long as you have a number of people fighting for a piece of the pie, you'll never truly have peace and security. And yes, there are a lot of people benefiting from the conflict, because there are those who are providing arms, there are those who are able to apply or supply things cheaply, get stuff cheaply. So there's so many beneficiaries in the conflict itself. There are many beneficiaries who are being paid from the process itself. So for it to end, and then also the issues are never as simple. They're never as simple. Yeah.
They're never simple, so they take forever to solve.
They take forever to solve.
Or they keep recurring. So
but it's the same. I think the reason why I think it gets better, I think people expect it to be night and day. Like I think you talked about America and slavery.
Yeah.
Slavery ended how long ago, but they're still dealing with the effects of slavery until today.
Exactly.
Kenya with colonization, we achieved independence a long time ago, but we're still dealing with neocolonialism and issues. So it doesn't happen in one day. As much as we'd love to have a utopia today, it's not as simple, unfortunately.
You know, watching the movie, I know you have a younger sister. I just want to ask you if if you were Laura, would you go deep to look for your missing sister?
I will be praying for her from the comfort of my house. I would love to lie to her that I'd go through all that.
Yes, however. Yes.
She's a grown woman. She went there by herself. I'll make lots of phone calls, possibly to the leaders, do that, I'm those Twitter activists. I'd go on Twitter and Facebook, social media activists. That is like in our ass. But yeah, would you do it? Would you go
I think I'll go and reach Uganda and even Congo, the town. But after I have been told, because they reached a point when Sergio told her that she has been found. Yeah. I think from me there, I will settle. I will not go deep, but I will at least make an attempt.
I would get as far as Congo, though. Yes, where there's Even the fact that she went through the first time, saw that killing, got saved by the UN, and then still decided to go back in. That is crazy.
Oh, for me, I would be please.
Doing that.
I'll say, please tell her I'm here at the UN camp waiting for her.
Will you send her a message? Let me give you a picture.
Yes, I can give a picture to be given to her. Something, but But then I look at the film in different contexts. Like we were talking about the lady who helped her. She's called Masira. Though Masira in my community among the Luo means shida nyingi, a lot of troubles. Not one troubles that keep coming one after the other. That is Masira. And now, so I don't know whether her name was connoted to mean the same, but then if I look at Masira helping her and looking at it, I think Masira was a spiritualist, not just a herbalist, because when she removed the snake poison from her and she was sleeping there, it's like Masira was able to feed into the energy that Laura was getting, I don't know, from maybe the gods of the Congolese. And so she was like, what have they told you? But you see, since Laura could not get it, for her it was just a dream, she couldn't connect. And also there was the language barrier. Then now there's this spiritual barrier. But then looking at it all, you realize that when your intentions are good, you'll definitely meet people around you who I think are good enough to help you reach your purpose. And now just related to your work, in your path, when you are doing all these programs, even just within East Africa, were there situations that for a moment in that time of war, you felt this person is in war, but they're still human?
I think to see the humanity in people which I think they did very well, is because you always think when you meet this monster, he's going to look like a monster. You meet this, because you never meet them, By the time they come into the table to talk, you're not in the field looking at people hacking people. You don't know what they have done. So you're meeting people at their best. So you never know. And they just look like human beings. And I think the ability to see when their humanity, like Jamir, you talked about Jamir. Yeah. And that guy, he cut someone's neck and hacked them into pieces. Like it was and you're still
and Laura couldn't believe it.
And at the end, you're still like, this is my favorite guy. But
no,
let me he was my favorite guy.
Let me tell you why he's my favorite guy. He went back for one reason, to finish this war.
It wasn't finishing the war. It was revenge. It was revenge.
But that one is
going back for revenge. And then I think that's what I think when you have violence begets violence.
Yeah.
You never solve violence with peace. That's just the reality of it. Sometimes it happens, but violence, someone always feels like they have a reason to do more violence. So it never ends. And I think that's true. the whole spirituality of it all. Like I think Nana mentioned the indoctrination of the kids when they were young and how they built Hawk up to be this invisible person. You know the things you can only teach a child. You can't tell a grown person.
Like now we'll shoot you, and you'll not die. And the guy, you know, I was like, okay, are they using a powder gun? What are they doing?
Blanks. I think they must have been using blanks.
So that the kid, he only hears the sound and there's no bullet, yeah?
Yeah.
Because
it's indoctrination, and they're selling this hawk. The hawk cannot be killed, and the hawk is dead.
And he died a long time ago.
Yeah. But they know they're manipulating, and I think sometimes I wonder now if you come to a place like this and you bring them peace, how then do you teach people like that to be human? Because if you interact with people who've gone through, how do you get the humanity out of people who've forgotten, who've been taught how not to be? It's how do you see the humanity in them, and how do you get them to a normalcy? Because there are things you cannot forget.
Yeah, because I remember at the point where Jamil and Laura were partying at the gate of the UN camp, and they said he cannot get in. And the other officer was like, they never change. You know, it doesn't matter what you do. He will never change. They never change. They always go back. And so you see, Laura was so torn. She was like, okay, I need to be in for my safety, but now I can't be this boy. But she took all she had and gave the boy. And you know, for a moment, I thought the boy was going to take this money and throw at her and say, I don't want your money because I was never doing this for money. But after a moment, he said, thank you. You are a good person. And I was like, wow. He can look and say you're a good person. And then, you know, in the end, he died for Laura. You remember the end when the other lady was like, he did. Because when the other people were like, it's the white man, it's them. Then he came and looked at Laura's face and he was like, it is me. He sacrificed himself. I was like, this is total love. As in,
I don't know if it's love. I don't think it was that deep. I think maybe I'm a bit more skeptical.
I think I'm a hopeless romantic.
Yes, you are. Because for me, I'm thinking I think I think you have to kind of let loose of your life, like devalue your life to be able to take yourself back to a situation like that. Because if he was in a safe place, for him to make a decision to go back to the jungle, meaning he knew there was a chance he was going to die.
Yes.
He knew there was a very good chance he was going to die. Meaning, I think there's a part of him, because even after getting out of the UN place, he could have gone free, but he still went back to the chance that he could die. So I don't think he had the will to live. Which is why he easily gave up his life. I don't think he had the will to live.
Yeah, he knew that I'm going back to kill this guy and I know they'll kill me. And actually, if I manage to reach to the point of killing him, I'll still be very lucky. So I think, in his mind, it was like, he's as good as dead.
I think that's how we say the optimist in you and the pessimist in me.
I know.
So romantic. I'm like,
it's so romantic.
I'm like, he was hopeless. He had no hope. You're like, let me just die. Clearly, there's nothing worth living for. Let me die for this person I barely know.
And then, you know, I looked at Sergio. You remember Sergio, the one who took the money and said he has already bought the plane. And then he was around. I said, I thought this was a Kenyan thing.
He's a businessman, the full hustler.
And you know, the rules, you said, all these are my rules and I want it in full. Then you don't go. First, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, there was only one plane and the minister has gone with it. And so I'm taking the helicopter. You'll come with the others. First, he has not told you who the others are.
I think it kind of makes sense, though, because I think his backstory was he put all his money into the mines and he lost everything. And I think also there's a sense, I don't know if it's maybe living in a place where people are so callous with life, it will make you just feel nothing for everyone. Because life and death in a situation like that is fleeting. So everyone is an opportunist, though.
But I'm looking at it like Laura sold all her stocks because she called and they said, oh, it's only this amount in the stock exchange. She was like, sell it all. And this is a lawyer we're talking about.
He didn't know that part. He just knows there's a rich white woman who's coming here. Let me take all her money while I can. Huh?
But how much can a lawyer have?
You don't know. Maybe she's a hyper. If you told her the price and she said, okay, did she bargain? She didn't bargain.
No, she said, this is too much. She said, it's that, take it or leave it. Or I don't know whether he was, maybe he was doing that to discourage her or what.
I don't know.
Yeah, but then
but he redeemed himself in the end, though, no?
No, that is
a plan for them to escape. So
yeah, maybe. I don't know whether he was now giving back his money.
And he found her. He found her sister. He's the one who told her where she was. So in the end, he kind of earned his money. And plus, it makes sense. Zippy, how much would you charge someone to go to the jungle, to take someone to that part of the jungle? How much would you charge?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I won't charge because I want to do it.
But give them the risk. You take the same from everybody. That's your
because I know I won't do it. Huh? I know I can't. If I know I can't do it, I just don't. I don't, So
it's the same as when you're working with this organization, flying into this conflict areas. The cost of a flight is ridiculous. The cost of travel is ridiculous. So everybody's doing it. So why not charge you? It's a reflection of what's happening in real life. Everything is overpriced because it's in a conflict zone, quote unquote. Yeah. So he's just taking advantage of what's happening.
I think I would want to say he's a true Kenyan, but unfortunately the film was only set in Uganda and Congo. So
but the Swahili was not very convincing for Congolese, though.
At some point, I don't know whether I don't think they went to Congo to shoot it.
I feel like they used some Kenyans. They sounded more Kenyan Swahili than Batoto Bakongo.
Yeah, it was there.
And those are our people pretending to be Congolese.
Exactly. Yes. So anyway, so tell me your favorite part in the film.
The end. End. Definitely the end. I liked the whole thing. Was very. I think I mentioned to you that it was very depressing, given the day and age. There's a lot going on that is so sad, and then now here's this film that's even sadder. But the sobering nature that this is a true story and this is happening today, I think, like Nana said, was sad.
But
that this is someone's reality.
Yeah, how do you call it? Misery loves company. So when you know that things are bad like that, you at least tell yourself, things are bad now, but it's not reached that point of that movie. So
it made me feel like a child of privilege.
Yeah, you are.
It made me really
we
as
are,
a Kenyan.
Yes, we are.
Peace is such a privilege, because at the end of the day, we watch, we get sad with them, but we have the privilege of turning it off and going back to normal and dealing with our normal lives. But there are people who this is their reality every day. Exactly. And how they have to live with that. And that's a whole challenge on its own, man.
The point where I started seeing the suffering was when they were on the boat from the Congo town going to the forest, and there was nothing to eat, and there was only a banana for each person. And I was like, hey, come on.
Such a rich continent, man.
It's such a rich continent, and this is just the way going. Only banana is what you can eat. Where they are going to reach, what will they eat?
It's tragic. It's very, very tragic.
Yeah.
It's very, very tragic. Yeah.
Anyway,
What was your favorite part in the movie?
for me, my favorite part was that point, you know me, I'm very spiritual. That point where Masira was like telling me, and then she gave her this necklace. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah. And then also the very point where
Mm-hmm.
when she was now captured, and when she was sleeping and her sister appeared, and she was not so sure, is it a dream, is it the reality, even for
Mm-hmm.
us as the audience, we were like, is she dreaming that she's here, or
Yeah.
is
Is
the
she really
sister,
meeting?
yeah, or is Sarah truly telling her, I am here, I am here, it's
Yeah.
me, Sarah. For me, that point, I was like, oh.
At the part that fascinated me the most was the
Yeah,
ceremony with the boys. When
yeah,
they'd put the face in the powder and then he comes and draws something behind the back and
behind
then he
you.
says, Chukua Roho Mtakatifu. I was like, that is not the Holy Spirit. And he said it to everybody. I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah, that was not fair. Huh?
I think just the whole spiritual manipulation. You know how
But
people take
the
something that's
funny
meant
thing
to be
is, when I went to Ghana last year, was it last year? Yeah, when I went to
yeah.
Ghana last year, when we went to the Cape Coast, and then the church is above, and then the
Yeah.
slave dungeons are below, and I said, okay, it's like the name of God. In a lot of times, Christians just use it, but
Yeah.
in real sense, it's the same Christians who are practicing slavery. So the colonialists did it. We are doing it. As in, you go to churches. Sometimes you are asking for help in the church, and the church is not helping you, and yet it's the kafiris who are helping you. So the same way, even in that place, they were like, "Oh, I mean, this is a Christian thing in the name of the Lord. You are being elevated to the highest place to become a
I
child
think
soldier."
I
They
don't
were
think that is
misusing it.
I think manipulation is a human condition and selfishness is a human condition. And people use whatever is convenient. Because
Yeah,
politicians
true, true.
use tribe, and just because
Yeah,
someone claims they're a Christian doesn't mean they're practicing Christian beliefs. Because if you are, I think the lesson to us as local people is
yeah,
to read that Bible for yourself. Because if someone is manipulating you using this word, and the reason we're manipulated so easily is because we don't know
yes,
what it says. The reason
exactly.
politicians manipulate us is because we don't want to read for ourselves. We want someone to tell us what
Yeah,
to do. They're being led
yeah.
like sheep. So I don't think it's the content that is a problem. I think the takeaway is to realize the humanity in everyone, even those who call themselves Christians. Because I think the problem
Mm-hmm.
with people is, I am a terrible person today, like the worst
Yeah.
human being you have ever seen. And then I will say I have accepted Christ. And then tomorrow you'll trust me with your life in one day.
Yeah.
But I still haven't changed. I haven't transformed.
Mm-hmm.
Transformation takes like a long
Time.
time. So it's using scripture to manipulate and using spirituality and people's beliefs to manipulate. And people perish because of lack of knowledge. Educating
Uh-huh.
yourself on what is real and what is not, and trusting people just for the sake of because they're saying they are, is
Yeah.
dangerous in any way. Because human beings are very
Actually,
selfish. And they're
you
very
have
the
said
yeah.
you have said people perish for lack of knowledge, which is in the Bible. So, Yani, the Bible tells us we are perishing for lack of knowledge, but still we never want to seek that
You
knowledge
still
to
don't want
help
to read
us.
it. You still don't want to read it. You're waiting for some book
Yeah.
to read for you and tell you. Instead of
And
telling you, no, no, no,
interpret.
no, no, no. Yeah. And lie to you basically and manipulate you to get your money. Because I think
But
the nature of man is selfish. That's the first, naturally, all of us cling to, which is why I was saying, because I know my nature is selfish, I will be sitting in the safety of my house. Waiting on my sister.
Waiting on your sister and praying. Don't worry,
Praying
some
for
of
my
us,
sister.
Linda, some of us will go and get a pot, an African pot, and call her name and say, "Come, my sister, come," and they will come. And they will
Because of
say,
self-preservation. Self-preservation is number one. Mine.
ah,
So I think the pessimist in me, when I look at someone, and they're trying to sell me something, I'm trying to think, what are you getting out of it?
Have you ever been conned in this city? That is just now a question. Have you ever been conned in this city?
Directly, no.
Directly, no. Like one-on-one. Like you've never lost like 10K one-on-one.
No. I have lost when I've trusted someone who got conned. That has happened a lot.
How do you know the person got conned?
Because they told me they could get me something. They know somebody. So then I gave them the money, and then it turns out they trusted a con man. That happened a few times with the same person.
That I think now that person knows too many con men.
They trust easily. They have a very. I think they're very hopeful. They're very trusting. And you always need people like that in this world, by the way. You need people who trust. It's a good condition to have.
I have been conned more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times. I think I can have a book called The Con Game. You know.
So Sergio will take advantage of you for sure.
Oh, for sure. If I see, but nowadays I can smell these con men. I can smell there are lines that they start. I ask myself, where did I hear such a line? And I say, I know what you're getting. You know, they have got some lines that make you feel like, oh, nowadays if I start feeling like that, I'm like, hey, wake up. You know, because I've been conned in this city.
If a deal is too good to be true, then I won't trust it. I don't trust any deal that is too good to be true. I'm not those people of make your money quick, because I'm like,
make your money quicker.
No.
Linda, I have even done GNLD, so let's not even talk about make your money quick.
Maybe I don't trust, because I'm like, if that thing worked, then all of you would be millionaires.
Would be millionaires
to me.
Exactly.
I don't trust people. Maybe that's the challenge.
So Sergio would never bet on you.
Nothing. I'd be like, show me the receipts. Let's do the research. Let's compare. Let me get 2 other quotations. Give me your references.
I think personally I would have sold even what I was carrying and sold it to Sergio anyway for my sister. The problem is I don't know, after reaching Congo, I don't know how I could have gone back. But anyway, we are those kind of people.
Maybe I missed that part in the movie. What made her go in the first place? What made her go look for her sister at the beginning?
Once she was told that the sister is dead, then now the father was also now having dementia. So according to her,
if you've been told your sister is dead, why would you get up and then now go all the way to a different country to look for her and you've been told she's dead?
You know, that lady was Spanish, and Spanish are like Africans. When you tell us our relative is dead, we want to see the body or where she was buried. Yeah. Or let's just show us where she was buried, then we will be at peace. So I think for her that was the thing. Because now if your father already has dementia and he's forgotten you, then now your only sister, you're like, and then she mentioned somewhere to Jamir, like she was also divorced. So she felt like I am all alone in this world. Maybe if I get my sister, I'll find an answer. If I bring her back home, then we can start another family, you know. But then, that's life.
But it was a good movie in the sense of the goodness in people, even in times in times like this, it's good to know there are people who still have hope and who still have courage that would go out and risk their own lives for someone else.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. For someone else. I don't know, for me, like someone.
Linda, I will die for you.
Lies you tell.
I will. I'll cross the ocean for you.
You will write a letter, a strongly
Come
worded
rain
tweet.
or sunshine, I will come. and then on the day we have to meet, I'll text you and tell you it's raining. I don't think I'll make it.
It's understandable.
Okay, Linda, I can see this. Our discussion, like I said, I mean, the first person always has a higher advantage anyway. So I'll want you to give your final words before I welcome back Khalayi. Yes.
It was a good movie. I recommend people watch it, like you said, during the day when you still have enough time to get positivity in your life before you sleep. But it was a good movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Linda.
Thank you for having me.
And now that you are a climate change expert, what is the weather tomorrow? Okay, that's weather. What is the climate next month?
That's still weather. Next month is still weather.
Next month is still weather. Okay, then climate is for when?
For 20, 30 years.
Are you serious? Not next month or in December?
No, that is weather.
Okay. Now I know. I've learned a new thing. I thought weather is the daily one.
Daily, weekly, monthly, seasonally. That is weather. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a new one. Now I'll never ask a weather person about climate. Now I know the difference.
Thank you so much for having me, Zippy.
Thank you so much too for turning up, and we thank, the Kenya Power and all the Wi-Fi that you're using.
They're back. Kenya Power is back. It had betrayed me. It just came as you said goodbye, then Kenya Power appeared. Like, thank you.
Don't worry, your face was well lit.
Thanks to God and the sun.
Let me welcome Khalayi. Hi, Khalayi. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Linda. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Okay, Linda, bye-bye.
Bye.
That was a nice...
Yes, Clarah.
Okay.
I'm having feedback from your side. Is your Facebook on? Have you opened your Facebook? Because I'm having feedback from your side.
Sorry? Yes, it's on my laptop. Do you need it off?
Put it off because we are getting feedback. So that we just have you and me face to face.
Good now?
Yes. Yeah, good. Yeah. Bado nasikia cheche. Sijui ni nini hiyo, but anyway. Yeah. So Clarah Khalayi, you are a clinician. First, tell me what. I don't know if it's I don't know what's happening. Are you hearing the noise, the feedback? Are you getting the feedback?
Is it
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, when you talk, I can hear you. So have you got my question? I'm saying,
I lost.
as a clinician, tell us a little about your work among the refugees.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know if you're hearing me. I'm saying, as a clinician, tell us about your work among refugees.
Okay. In my current case, working in a refugee camp as a clinician, and pretty much the tough experiences of crisis, just as before with Sarah, she tried to all because we are attending to the experience. compresses speed. So you take your in everything that you have to do.
I think there's noise. There's a lot of noise from your end. I can be, when you speak or when I speak, I get noise. Are you hearing the noise?
I don't know if that's the issue.
Which one?
Is the noise gone?
Because it's only me and you on. Okay, let's sort that. Let me have Rhone to start as we sort that. Yeah. So meanwhile, I'll have Rhone Kelele to come in as we sort the issue of sound for Khalayi. We'll just sort it shortly. Hi, Rhone. Unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Wewe ni mtu wa ICT. Hebu maliza utusaidie na story ya Khalayi.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you very clearly. I hear you.
I can hear you quite well.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
I can hear you.
Rhone Kelele. First of all, this name Kelele. Why?
Mwenyewe. Yes. Now, this name was given by friends because I used to be in drama club and also games.
Yeah.
And a noisy person who used to give people psych. Interesting enough, secondary, college, and at work, 70% or 75% do not actually know my real name.
That's interesting.
They just know me as Rhone Kelele.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And one time I was going to the embassy. Yes. One time I was going to the embassy, and my director wrote an official letter, Rhone Kelele. So when I present the letter to the immigrations official, they're like, "Excuse me, do you have any other document with any other name?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No." What name is there? It's like Rhone Kelele. Like, oh my God, that's my nickname. So it's a nickname that has stood with me that I even forget to have other names.
You know, it's interesting when you talk about names because people assume that Zippy is my name, yet Zippy is a short form of Zipporah. And I also get letters from my boss written Dr.Zippy Okoth instead of Dr. Zipporah. But anyway, that aside, tell us about your work among the refugees and your thoughts about this film.
Yes.
Yes.
I work with an American organization called Church World Services. It has a program in Africa called Resettlement Support Center Africa.
Yeah.
The other resettlement support centers within other continents, but this one is for Africa. So CWS has been mandated by the Department of Homeland Security or PRM to help with preparing cases for refugees who will be resettled in the US. Yes. So generally I travel to about 45 sub-Saharan countries within Africa.
Yeah.
But also previously I worked with the Red Cross, whereby I worked with child soldiers who have been brought back to the society in northern Uganda under Red Cross.
Yes.
So generally that's what I generally do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also rugby lazima uweke hapo ndani.
So leo tuko na mwanaspoti hapa ndani.
Mwanaspoti mwenyewe. Ukitaka tutoke mbio kwa hii mgomo ya that we are saying of Black Lives Matter, we can help you prepare for that.
Yeah. So yes. I watched the film and there was this boy as dark as you called Jamir.
Jamir, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and you say you work with refugees, and one thing that came out strongly from the other characters was them repeating once they, even if they get out, they always go back. Is it true that happens? That even when they are rehabilitated,
people have different experiences. And with these experiences, it really depends. Jamir from the movie might have been a child soldier, but he was able to move out of it.
Yeah.
But I've worked with the people in northern Uganda and also some within the program that I work with, which I can give names, true experiences and stories, but I can give an overall view of whereby it depends with the initial experience you had. Like some of the child soldiers, let's take an example of the northern Uganda children who were taken by Kony. So one of the few things and our African tradition is that if you do a bad thing to your parents, like if you kill them, you abuse them, you're sort of put as the bad child. So initially, what Kony will do is that he will have the children who are below 10 years kill their parents. That means you'll not be allowed to come back to that village. And that means they will stick with the Kony for long. The current refugees like Jamir, he was a child soldier before, but he was able to come out of it. But for him, I think going back was he wanted to stop this war. And he thought by killing the hawk, it will stop the war. He thought he was the war. But you see, the war is not about the individual. It's about the unit that was under him. But he actually did not know that the hawk had died and Batista had taken over. And everybody thought Batista was the hawk. So for me, at times, I think it's experiences. That's why the UN soldier was saying they still go back. I think there are times to go back because even you, Dr. Zippy, now, if something happens and you're told your daughter is, your son is, your brother, your father, you really want to go back or not go back. And some of these are indoctrinations within our own cultures. When we talk about Congo, we talk about tribal wars, which were there long before even the colonialists came in, if you look at their history. And for them, they simply know this. If you are somebody like, say, a Banyamulenge, you're assumed you are Rwandese. But you see, you're a Banyamulenge from Congo. You speak, you're Banyamulenge who speaks Kirwanda, who speaks Kirundi. You're assumed you're a Burundian, you're a Rwandese.
Exactly.
And that's why for them, they say they go back because some of them go back to their own groups.
So that's the only identity they know.
Yes, that's the only identity you know. And these rebel groups are the only people who protect you. I was reading 2 days ago, I think a week ago, some rebel group handed over weapons to the government and the United Nations team in Congo. And one of the mamas simply said, I don't know what will happen because these groups used to protect us. So if your own mother Zippy says, my daughter goes group to protect us, it shows what happens. The identity is because I am part of this group, and that's why I go back. I go back because I want to be identified from this group. Now, like me, Rhone, I only identify as a Luo because that's the only identity I now have in Kenya. The only point the other identity comes in is when I go to a different country. People not know Luo. People ask you, are you from Kenya? And I'm like, yes, I am from Kenya. So the identity of them going back is because that is the only thing that they can hold dear and say, yes, I am from this group, and that's why I'm going back to defend the land of my ancestors, to defend my other sisters, to defend my other people around there. And I think Jamir, that's what he felt. And he felt for him going back, it's simply, if I can find the hope and stop him, I will stop this war. But you see, it doesn't really stop. The other person still comes up and takes over the entire unit.
At some point I felt Laura's purpose and Jamir's purpose was so alike, and now that when you explain it, it's even like more clearer, because Laura was there to find her sister so that she could be able to get her identity, and the same thing is happening. Jamir is also going back so that he can get exactly. So this one is going for her only sister. The other one is going because that's the only kind of home he knows. So even if he was saved and removed from there, it's like, okay, it's like missing. When you go to another country, you always feel like, I miss home. Even if you come from the poorest of the poorest families, you want to go back home, you know. Am I breaking?
So sorry, Dr. The last point you seem to have lost me a bit.
Oh, yeah, I'm saying, like, you see, like the purpose of Jamir and Laura. Like even in our real life, even if somebody comes from the poorest of the poorest homes in the village, and then they go to another city, even when people, no matter what people tell them, at the end of it all, they'll always feel like, I need to go back home. You see, like even Obama came back home, just to find that self-identity. You get it? Have I lost you?
Dr. I think there's something. I think it's. I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I hear you very well.
There's a lot of echo from your side. I'm sorry, I can't hear.
I'm hearing you very clearly. Like, what's up? Okay, because I don't know what's happening, because I get you word by word. Hi. Today's sound is a problem. Oh, why? Huh? Oh. Okay. I can see Ron's network, I think imepotea katoka. Let me get back to Khalayi. Hi.
Hi. Is the noise gone?
Yes, the noise is gone. Yeah. I can hear you very
Hot. This place is hot.
I can hear you very clearly now. Yeah.
Nice. Sorry. This place is crazy hot, So
Yeah.
I need the fan on.
Oh, it was the fan.
Yeah. We'll survive. It's
Don't
these situations that Laura had to go.
Yes. So, hi. I think the net is very slow today. I don't know what's happening with the net, but I hope you can hear me. Yeah. I was asking, what with your work as a clinician, tell us about your experience on working with refugees.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Sorry?
Your work as a clinician.
Pardon, I didn't get that.
Your work as a clinician. Tell us about your experience in working with refugees.
Oh, all right. Basically, I'm offering healthcare services to beneficiaries in a refugee camp within our country. And mostly these are people who come in from a war-stricken area. Different kind of conflicts makes them leave their home. And just as we saw in the movie, we would see a lot of conflict on matters women, problems facing women, be it rape, be it, and also for the children, the child laborers and child soldiers, and having to work for underages. So basically, we have, the entire scope of people who face conflict in different capacities coming into the camps, where basically my work involves offering healthcare services just on a general perspective. Health in matters of, common diseases, if you're having any other, the non-communicable diseases. Basically, that is what I do here.
Yeah, because when we look at the movie, I just want to ask you a question. If you are Sarah and your sister rescued you, would you go back if you are in the same situation?
If I was
Sarah? If you were Sarah and your sister Laura came and saved you, Would you go with the Laura or would you remain in the camp?
First, my sister would be really angry if I wouldn't go with her. And also she would have to deal with it. So I would want to consider what she would think about, like, I'm here to save you. But in this situation, that is Laura's perspective. She feels her sister is in danger. Her sister is in a war-stricken area. She probably doesn't have food. She's not able to communicate to anyone at home. So wherever she is at home, she feels it is safer at home. So she's out to, take me out of this horrible situation. But she misses out on Sarah's perspective of what Sarah defines as she has found her purpose. She's in this zone. She has seen in first-hand experience the difficulties that these people face. She has seen how difficult it is, to survive in that area. They face diseases. They face, many other psychosocial. Jamil, for instance, he's a young man who has, he's been forced into being a child soldier, but deep inside he has a different heart.
Yeah.
So until as a part,
the net is breaking. I don't want to say Safaricom or Zuku, but these people are breaking us.
As being Sarah, I may not leave the field. I would.
You broke off when you started talking about Jamir.
I lost you for a moment.
Yeah, when you started talking about Jamir, we lost you.
I lost you, Zippy.
I'm saying when you started talking about Jamir, we lost you there.
About Jamir?
Yes, when you started talking about like Jamir, someone like Jamir as a character, we lost you at that point. Yeah,
I lost you. Sorry.
Okay, so like when we look at Jamir as a child soldier, and still, even despite having gone through the war, he still has some humanity in him. Yeah. How is that a normal circumstance?
He is so human.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, truth be told, in such a setup, you will find people who have gone through certain kind of trauma in their lives, and we tend to define them by what they have been through. You tend to define them, and we look at say Jeremy's life. He was initiated into that rebel group, and he managed to escape because the person that he is not defined by what he came to learn eventually, but the person that he is, by, say, nature. He's out to bring out the humanity in him. He's trying to bring in a change, but he is not in any capacity to take over the role of the hawk, so that he changes the rebel group to probably be, a more peaceful kind of group, and do something more productive for the community. Yeah, and because of this, Jamil was even able to see Sarah as a good person, and he was open to learn things from her. And when he saw Laura come into
You are really breaking.
Zippy.
Yeah, you're really breaking.
I lost you.
Huh. Yeah, you're breaking so much. I can barely get you. Yeah. Huh.
Okay now. I'm back. I can see.
Yeah. Yes. So I was asking, like, when we talk about the issue of humanity, if you compare the issue of Jamir and you compare the issue of even the medical personnel in the camp, how they meet and their interactions. Yeah. So tell us more about that kind of situation where you're sacrificing your all because of the humanity, it's not the money. But then also you look at the child soldiers who feel whatever they're doing is also for the purpose of humanity.
In Jamir's role as say for a healthcare worker, you want to help out this individual. You want to give them the best. But more often than not, you're in a position where you only offer help to a certain point. Like there's a scope within which you work. You cannot give everything because it is not one individual in this community. We have so many beneficiaries to attend to. And if you get, let me define it as getting personal, quote unquote. If you get personal and capture one individual and say, this person has, these values that I identify, this person deserves, better than what he's getting, trust me, you'll not be able to help everyone. You'll only take it up to a certain point and leave it up to that and hope that the path from where you got them from to where you got them to is going to open up.
Yeah.
You just I think that's the point where you have to leave it as hope for a better path for this individual, that it opens up. You see, even for Jamir to come up to a point where he's able to sacrifice his life for Laura's freedom by declaring that he's the one who killed the hope. You see, it comes as a kind of an appreciation from his end, his kind of appreciation, because he sees he has been rescued to some point, and in the event he had the vengeance of having, he was out to avenge his life, the frustration he went through, he was going to avenge to the hope. Then he finds that Sarah has done it for him. So he probably felt obliged in a way to, return the favor. Like, I was out to do this, but it's already done. So this is my kind of saying thank you. And I lose nothing by dying and rescuing you, Like Laura can go back home safely. She has seen the sister she wanted to see. Whatever happens thereafter, I really don't mind. But freedom to them, and he sacrifices himself for them.
Yeah, because and also looking at it, I think he sacrificed himself almost 3 times, because when they had gone to Masira's home, and then those guys came and attacked the whole village. And then I don't know he had gone to do what. And then this man came to and was almost raping Laura. And he took that machete and started, hacking this guy. And yes, that point changed. It really changed Laura's perception.
That was my favorite
still,
part of the movie.
It was like, what else did you want me to do? This guy was either going to hack you. So it's either I hack him or I hack you. But Laura was not seeing that.
That was...
Yeah.
that was such an intense part of this movie, actually. Starting all the way from, if I would go back to when the snake bite, we would expect, to get, like, in a proper setting, Laura was going to get a hospital or something, whatever kind of medical attention she was going to get to have the venom pulled out and things like that. But hello, he's in this village, and then this lady is out there rescuing her. that for me showed a lot of the role of women in society. There was everyone. We had men, we had children, but they could clearly run to this lady knowing that this is the one woman that can solve this problem. So she had a very vital role in that society, Masera. And secondly, coming down to this moment when now the attackers came in, it was an eye-opener for Laura, because now she saw it, plainly. She saw it plainly when her lifesaver is attacked and she cannot do anything about it. This one individual who, for a moment saved her life, and she could not return the favor. Laura was lost. She was broken. It was all over her face. And in a moment, these guys come in and they defile her.
Yeah.
And the moment that she's taken out, and right before Laura's eyes, her child, Masera's child, is given a gun to kill her mother.
Oh, that moment.
This was intense. This was so intense. I think I cried for a moment. And Laura could do nothing.
Yes.
And in an instant, you think that now things are calm. The bush is cleared. The attackers are gone. And when she comes down, and then this guy turns up in a dagger, and he calls out, "Wewe, Muzungu!" That was scary. This guy sees an opportunity now for himself. It's like, "You, Muzungu!" Now he's like, we just found bush to down on it. That was intense. And when now Jamil turned up to the rescue, it's another eye-opening for Laura, because now she realizes that this guy can just maim someone. Like eye dried, and you just went out with the daggers and slashed him into pieces. That was so intense as well for Laura. She was scared. She was not so sure whether she would appreciate Jamil for saving. She wasn't so sure whether she would appreciate Jamil for saving her life at this point, or was she now scared that this guy can actually just kill and feel nothing about it. I think she had mixed feelings about this situation. So even coming out of that situation, I believe it wasn't a very, very easy time for her to understand how it is. She wasn't so sure from Laura's view at that point.
Now, this is a trick question.
So I think if I
here, as a clinician, would you recommend people go to be pulled for snake bites by traditional herbalists?
Sorry?
As a clinician, would you recommend that people go to spiritualists to pull snake bites? Would you recommend that?
Normally, these are two words to go for traditional.
Yes, traditional medicine, like now the snake bite being pulled, like the way she was doing it. Yeah. Would you recommend that as a clinician?
I won't say no, I won't say yes, and this is my reason. Medicine.
Yeah.
Medicine originates from, we go way back. We are Africans. We are very African.
Yeah.
We have had our forefathers, and we have had ways in which they dealt with situations. You would encounter snake bites, they had solutions. They would encounter, all these illnesses, some funny skin rashes, and they would apply something on you, and it would go away. So it goes back to the African in us. There are things we did in the past that right now we may not know about. A few of us maybe in the villages where we've had our grandparents able to, pass down the tradition. And some of this are, I wouldn't say exactly acceptable, but workable, say. Also, some of those traditions, they are not, they're not the best, because when you look at it and the repercussions of it, you see they kind of contradict with modern day medicine.
Yes.
And so you may not really take up every traditional thing we did in the past right now and say that, now that my paracetamol is not working, kindly go to, Babalawo, the Nigerian way, and have them solve your issues, because now this is the end of what we have. No. So I would honestly not send someone out to go and consider that kind of medicine, because yes, we do have traditional practices, and more so in this particular setting, say in a refugee setting, considering that most may not have formal education. We are in a position where they still practice some things that we would today consider to be backward.
Yeah.
And would also consider this acts to be like, say, there's like we have communities where if you have pain somewhere, they would ban that area, thinking that putting a hot rod on this surface that hurts, the pain will go away, but only to realize later that this opens out to infections. This opens, who wants to deal with burns more? Now you are only dealing with just common pain, and now you have to deal with
dawa ya moto ni moto.
Of burns. It becomes a different story. So not all, but no, it's really it's more it's disadvantaging more than it is of value to do something like that.
Hi, yeah. Anyway, now I see. Hey, time is running, so I want you to tell us your favorite scene. I'm saying time is running, so I want you to tell us your favorite scene, and also as you give us also your final words also. Your favorite scene, your best scene.
My best scene is when actually there where I just explained about Laura having to witness all that drama in an instant, having to see Masera raped, her killed by her child, and this moment when she's now being, she's being the victim, she's being in a position where she could be harmed, all that emotion that she was involved in. I really liked that part. But also I liked the part where Sarah stayed behind.
Yes.
Because I could clearly see my sister get on the plane and wonder why I'm staying behind. My sister wouldn't take that lightly. Yes. But I could see that situation, because I'll tell you, when I was first coming this side, when I went home for the first time after my first break, no one would want me to come back. They were like, please stay, don't go back. Because it was an all new thing for me, and they from their view, when I went home, I was different. I was, I think I had just not gotten used to this, and I think I was honestly still finding me. And just as Sarah would say, in this area, I've been able to find that path.
And
I love working here. I love what I do, and you may not see the change in people every day, but
there is one question.
It takes some time. You can see the change in the beneficiaries. A few would come out clear.
Now, there's one thing that Sarah said. Sarah said she's the one who killed the hawk. I'm saying there is one thing, as you give your conclusive remarks.
Sorry, Zippy.
I'm saying as you give your conclusive remarks, there's one thing Sarah said, that she killed the hawk, and I'm looking at it as medical practice. She says she's going back there, yet here again she killed their leader.
Who's going back as a leader?
Sarah, check the message. Yeah. Yeah. Like Sarah killed the hawk. How did that make you feel?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When Sarah killed the hawk, that is a very, very difficult situation, because it makes you, as a medic, your ethic is to uphold life, and you have to do your very best and ensure that life is preserved. And yes, it gets to a point where you cannot do anything more, but every single day you should ensure that you uphold life. So it's really sad that Sarah felt, I want to believe that she was in a point where she thought that leaving this man to die, it's probably in that situation where she felt, these are the people who have abducted me. And I am scared. I do not know how I will get out of this situation. But she probably felt that that was a starting point for her to have freedom, only for her to stay in there for a little while longer, and she found out more about these people and found out that she probably could offer more than she thought was going to do, because initially she was only out there to save this guy and leave that place, only for her to find out that no, there's more to you that you're going to do here. So for her to have left the hawk to die, as she clearly described that she noticed the infection and she allowed it to spread, that was a very, I don't even have the word for it, but that is the thing that no person, not just even a medic, nobody should allow that to happen.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, you uphold life and then deal with this individual in another way, but don't allow this individual to lose life just because you feel no one deserves that. You don't settle on that.
Yeah. So your very final words.
Sorry?
Your final words.
Yes, sir.
Your final words.
Zippy.
Yes.
Final words. Nothing much. I enjoyed the movie. I would love to be, watching more of this and get to discuss them. And it teaches me a lot. I felt like Sarah a lot. I felt like Sarah a lot. So that was a really awesome movie for me. So it's a challenge as well.
It's a challenge because it's that thing of like, I felt like it's choosing between your life, saving your life and saving the life of other people. And maybe that's what doctors are called to do. Maybe that's what you swear upon when you become a doctor. But then sometimes in times of risk, you're told, but in times of risk, you're told save yourself first. So I don't know.
Well, yes. Trust me, we do say save yourself first. In any response to a crisis, it is safety first.
Yeah.
It is safety first.
Yes.
But do you remember there's this point in the mine where there was what was it? I think one of those mines went off. There was a little blast, and automatically Sarah ran to the point. There's that adrenaline rush in you as a medic. You don't think twice. You go there. Everyone is scattering away from this crisis, but she was so quick to it. And that is what, trust you me, every medic would do that has, it's a calling. You will go. You don't run away from crisis. you want to take this person from harm and just take them home. I think that's what's in short.
Yeah. Now, okay. Yeah, I saw like Rhone is disappearing, and yet I want to bring him in. So thank you so much. You know, I don't wish to be in your shoes as a medic, but I don't envy you. But we really appreciate the sacrifice that you are doing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Rhone, are you ready? Here is Rhone.
Yes, I am back.
You are back.
I am back.
Wi-Fi, did you back this like that?
Take it away.
Wi-Fi, yeah, Wi-Fi.
Okay, Khalayi.
Mr. Kelele.
Yes. Khalayi, bye. Let me remove you so that Kelele makes a little noise.
Yes. Hii Wi-Fi tunataka Uhuru atuongezee mingi. Tuendelee kufanya kazi. Kesho. Yes.
Okay. Yes. So we were talking about the soldiers and the child soldiers that you work with and the refugees. Of course, not all refugees are child soldiers anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. But the question we were asking when you disappeared or when the Wi-Fi disappeared on you was this notion that they always go back. How true is it? Which you really clearly told us that, I mean, it's all about trying to find your identity. Yeah. But then now again, looking at it, Nana talked about that refugee thing happens because of the search for coltan in Congo. But then in Sudan, again, it's gold. Everywhere there's a reason why there is these refugees and slavery that's going on. And you find that in all those places, there is that mind. What is always the opinion or the thought of these refugees when they imagine that their country is so rich and yet they can't get something from it? When you talk to them, how does it make them feel?
One thing, whether you're a refugee or not, even us now in Kenya, the thing that everybody talks about is a political system. The political system of most, if not all African countries, I've said most, if not all African countries, is a rotten system. It's a system that we picked from colonial times, and because it gives advantage to the leaders who are elected, to the leaders who force themselves into power, it gives them an advantage. And any one particular time you talk to any person, whether you're a refugee, and a migrant, a child soldier, a former child soldier, this one the good of everything. But our political system, our political class, are the ones who failed us totally. Because put these things into perspective, because they know it favors them.
Yeah.
Look in the case of the coltan. Congo produces over, I think, the quarter of the world's coltan.
Yeah.
You want to tell me if we stop buying coltan because we just want to have mobile phones, we want to have other gadgets, if the AU sits in and says, why does Congo have to be at war and they have to sell coltan? Let's give them a business sanction. Coltan natoka huko, yo coltan watumia kuchemshia maji. What will happen after 2 years? Honestly, what will happen?
Yeah.
If the UN sits in and says, if this area has an issue because of coltan, can we stop the sale of this coltan to companies?
Yeah.
And any company, can guys also sit and say, if this phone company, Rhone Kelele, that is getting this coltan to get money, stop buying the phones. You can buy other phones. Must we buy this particular one? I remember when we started, Nana said that companies like Apple now are serious about it. Are there child laborers working? Are there child soldiers protecting these people? These people feel there's something wrong. They want goodness out of everything, but they know the political systems that we are following is what is failing them. They want to see, we've seen refugees go to other countries, they still come back home. Why do they come back home? Because they want to see the good side of their country. It's not always about war, about killing, about rape, about armed groups, about child soldiers. No. These are human beings like us who also want to have a good house like Dr. Zippy and have a live session. Amen. And talk to people. But they know I'm a refugee because in 2007, remember what happened in Kenya? It is because the electoral system was wrong and people decided no, imetosha. And the guys went on the street, and because 2 or 3 people were shot, the guys were like, okay, you want to kill us? Yote yawezekana. People went to the streets.
Yeah.
And it's the same process we're talking about now as refugees. Their countries have gone down because of the electoral system. They'll want a good thing to happen to them. And that's why at times when they're resettled to other countries, they go home, but they still want to build back where they came from. The identity of you as an individual, even if you go to US and live for 98 years, we still look at you and remember the Kenyan who went to the US. They never say the American. They say the Kenyan who became the Kenyan born American. Why don't they always say an American? They always say even the Kenyan born.
Yeah, actually, that reminds me where we ended. That time we're like, even Obama, with all the power and all, he wanted to just come back to find his identity, Yes, just to identify and say, this is where my roots are. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what these refugees feel like. They just want something good out of them. Because if I ask you honestly now, Dr. Zippy, honestly, if I ask you, tell me something about Congo, what will you tell me?
Nothing.
We never talk about their forests, the good forests they have. We'll never talk about the gorillas that we can go and visit there.
We'll just talk about the war.
Yeah. The war. You see, that's what people talk about. We talk about the war.
Yeah.
But is it the entire Congo that is at war? No. There are places in Congo, they only saw war in a region. But you go to the southern side, like in North Kivu, South Kivu, which they call Nord Kivu and Sud Kivu. That's where the war is, because that's where we find all these minerals that everyone is fighting for. Nkunda, who was in the movie, was initially killed by the dog. Nkunda is now in ICC. But his group is still there. So how does that happen? Same as in the same movie. Jambir wants to go and kill the hawk. He doesn't know the hawk died years ago.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. And now he kills an innocent person. But is this person also innocent? No. He still is the hawk in the form of, even the team does not know it's not the hawk.
Yeah, so because of the manipulation, they are enjoying the power. And they know when everybody knows that the hawk is dead, it will disrupt all the goods that they're also enjoying. Yeah. Yes.
And that's what happened. And so they end up now, and Jamir goes back and says, okay, let me now go back to the child soldiers. It's a way I know the process of initiation. Then from that point, I can help stop the war. But does it really now stop the war? No. It even makes it worse now because there's no structure of leadership. Now, these groups will divide into smaller other groups and cause even more chaos. So for me, the refugees, guys who migrate to other countries because of war, violence, they always want to go home because that is the identity they have. They always want to see the goodness.
Another thing that came out very strongly now that we're talking about killing of the hawk, when now Nkunda was killed, and then the lady who was like the chief guard, she was there. She saw that it is a black person, a soldier who was killed, this Nkunda. But then she looked around and started saying, Ni mzungu ameua. And I'm like, but you saw it's not the Mzungu. Like, what exactly happened?
The Mzungu was just there, like.
They're like, but you've seen it's not us. How? Why are you turning against us?
Because they believe of that, sisi as Africans, we can't do such great things and kill this small god. It's only Mzungu can kill this small god. And it's just Mzungu ameua. And again chaos.
It reminded me of like during post-elections, where even like the very innocent neighbor, now someone just turns against you like, oh, you're the one who's making us all die in this country. So you turn against your immediate neighbor, whom you know so well is not innocent. And you look at human beings and you're like, I mean, the more we change, the more we remain the same. It's just the setting, Yeah.
Dr. Zippy, let me tell you post-election violence. By then I was working with the Kenya Red Cross. And My family has a house in Nakuru, and the region we stay is predominantly a Kikuyu region. The most interesting, I was at work and my sister calls me, Rhone, the guys who surrounded the house want to ban us inside the house. And I asked my boss, can we go? Can somebody help me because my family is not in danger? And I'm given a Land Cruiser to take me home so that I can try sort it out. Now, interesting now, because I'm wearing a Red Cross jacket, these people know certain rules and regulations. And this guy these people I even don't know, and they call me Rhone. Habari yako umekuja? Asante, najua unatusaidia huko kwa kambi za IDPs. But hii nyumba ni ya Mjalo, we need to burn it down. And I asked them, now if I have to look at...
Kukuangalia is when I decided to save you in basis of your tribe.
Individuals I'm helping, and if I decide the tribe, can I just kill them? No, my work is simply to uphold peace, and it has to stop this. It has to stop this. If you guys want to ban my family because we are Luos, do we choose the families you're born in? No. We never choose. It's simply, I wake up one day, I'm coming out, I'm like, hey, I'm born in this family. But also asked him a very interesting question. How sure are you, Dr. Zippy, that Ronald Odhiambo Onyango is a Luo? I might have just been adopted and given a name in that family.
Yeah, true.
And it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. No individuals who've grown up in family, this is the tribe, this is the language I can speak, and later they're told, no, your mother died and we took you in. And that is the same concept that happens also during the conflict regions. Like, we become these animals. And that's why Jamir goes back. And you're talking also, you remember also when Masira is killed and the white lady goes down, the sister goes down, and this other guy wants to rape the sister. Jamir again becomes an animal automatically and hacks him to death.
Yes.
But has he done good? Because he's saving somebody from being raped, but he's also killing. So who's on the wrong there? The person who wants to rape, or the person who's
the person who's killing the rapist?
Yes. So who's stopping?
Justice is hard to understand.
You even saw Laura was looking at Jamil like, wow. You
actually, after
me, but
that,
the issue is, you've killed someone. Can you kill me? She's not looking at the point where Jamila saved.
Actually, immediately after that, he kept asking, "Are you the one?"
Yes.
She asked that a lot of times, like, was it you? Like, and she couldn't still believe.
Yeah, she doesn't see the point, like, he saved me from being raped. And this guy might even have killed me later. But you only see the bad thing of these other individuals. And it's a tricky situation. It's the same thing with the refugees we have here. We look at them and we don't see them as Dr. Zippy. I only see you as a refugee from Congo.
As a refugee from
Burundi,
Congo.
From Somalia. I do not see the good things that you've done. I only see you on the bad point of view. And that's why these refugees have an issue. And that's why the soldier is saying they still become bad. They still go bad.
And even Jameen, there's a point when after Laura was like, is it you? Why didn't you tell me you're one of them? Is that what you are asking, discussing with the Padre?
Pastor, were you the boy? Yes.
Yes, were you the boy? Yes. And I remember Jameen telling him, you see, I couldn't tell you because now you are looking at me differently.
Yes.
And that's I think the same kind of stigma that even refugees face. Like the moment they say, I am from Sudan, I mean, they're looked at differently. Everybody sees, oh, that's a refugee. And perhaps they are Kenyan Sudanese. Maybe they were born here. Yeah, so maybe they were born here and all that.
Yes. And at times people look at you because you're melanin kama mimi. Somebody just call you a Sudanese.
Sudanese.
Yes. I've been to airports whereby, I'll tell you honestly, I was one day on a flight, I was passing through Turkey going to Germany. And my flight arrived late. And at the exchange booth, it was quite huge. And this guy comes to me, excuse me, do you know English? I can help you. Are you a refugee? And I look at him like, why am I talking about refugee? And he held my hand and just took me straight to the exchange booth. So it's just a perception of what has been happening around us. And we propagate it more because we also do the same. You remember in Kenya when Al-Shabaab started killing people, we saw all Somalis as Al-Shabaab. But no, these are Kenyan Somalis. These are not Somalis from Somalis. These are the very same brothers we've lived with in Isili, bought clothes from them, food. But now we see them as Al-Shabaab. Even in the matters, people call them
exactly.
Al-Shabaab.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Just the identity thing that is all over.
Exactly.
And that's why the refugees want that. Just identify me as a human being, not as a refugee.
Yeah. I think that's very nice. There was also the killing of the journalists.
Yes.
You know, we look at it like, here are journalists, people who just come to take videos. Of course, Sergio's mission, he was different. He was covering himself up as a journalist. But the journalists, I mean, they came to just take reports and all. But then they were hacked. They were the first to be hacked. And you know, at that point, I looked and I said, we sit back and watch news on YouTube on our local channels, and we blame the journalists for not giving us the right news. We say they are biased, they are all that. But then what length do they go even to get that biased news?
A lot. Remember Mohamed Amin, who went to the forefront in Somalia and got his arm blown off. He went to war and gave the story of Somalia. So the journalists, of course, remember these are groupings who might not know the requirements of legality, of law, of looking. You see, if I was a rebel, I look at this journalist. If I give them the story of a side that shows the good side of us, of what good things we are doing to villages, this guy can spread good news about us. But what about the juniors around me? Do they think big like me? And that's why for them, just saw Muzungu killed our leader. They shot them. But if they would have given them their story of their side, like, we are selling this because we need to help our region. We're selling this because we need to build a hospital. We only have one doctor who we actually even kidnapped. But they did not see that. Yes. I think now as we finalize on this, because I think also of time, I don't know if you have any questions before I continue. I'm sorry.
No, I don't even want to have a lot of. Naona niko time inaisha, but
yes,
we must have our final words. One, what? Whom did you see yourself as any of the characters? Let me start from there.
I think Jamir.
You saw yourself as Jamir?
Yes. This boy has passed through a lot of things and he wants to correct things. Always want to correct things. Personally, want to correct things to a better way. I'll give you an example. Most people now do not want to go to vote and say, correct it, and I'll tell them, until we do it, until they see we can do it, then it will stop. And I saw myself in Jamir's shoes. Like, Jamir wanted to help and to help Laura so that she can see to find the sister. And that's why I saw myself at him. I only felt bad that he was killed. I thought they'll go like the old Chinese way, whereby if you kill the leader, you become the leader. But no, they killed him, and I felt bad for him.
I think generally Jamir, in the very beginning, he just wanted to help Laura and then go back to the Congo City. I don't know. Can you hear me? Rhone? Hello? Hello? Rhone, umekwama kwa screen. Anyway, I'll bring back Nana to say bye. I can see Rhone is gone again. This network is. Oh, you can hear me? Okay, yeah, I was saying, I think for Jamir, his main intention was very clear. He just wanted to help Laura and hopefully go back to the main city. He's gone. Let me talk to Nana as we finish. Hi, Nana. Unmute.
I am here. You are speaking to frozen images.
I'm speaking to frozen images. So I said, hey, no, that's around any party. I can see his back. I don't know why he was frozen. Let me ask him this question, then I bring him back. This internet is a killer of dreams. on.
Yes, I can
You
hear you.
froze. You
You also froze. I could hear you. Can I hear you? I have been hearing you.
Okay.
Hi, Nana.
Hi.
How are you? Well, you want to take my limelight? Wachana na hiyo. Wewe wachana na hiyo. But yes.
So I was saying, so Jamir's intentions initially was to take Laura to the forest and then to come back and maybe go back to the city. Then Laura, reaching the gate of the camp, had to surrender and leave him. And I think for him at that moment is where he must have lost his path. He didn't know, okay, where do I go back to? Maybe I just go to the camp. But I'm thinking his main intention was just to go help, because he also didn't want money. He didn't even want to go, but he had to do it. So when you say the intentions are good and you find yourself in such a situation, maybe he might have killed somebody in the end, but I don't think that was his major idea. And if you are not frozen, kindly give us your final words.
I think he's frozen. I think he's frozen. It is okay. Inaitwaga internet.
Internet. Yeah.
I think that boy saw the opportunity of doing what he wanted to do from the beginning. I think when he decided to take this lady, he realized, I can get my vengeance if I take this lady to where she wants to go. In the bigger picture of what he wanted to achieve from the beginning.
You don't think Laura interrupted his plans of being good?
I think it didn't dawn on him at the UN. When Laura left and gave him money to go and start afresh.
Yes.
That's the point he went back. Or rather, it sort of seems that's the point he decided to go back to the bush so that he can get vengeance. I am of the opinion. That boy is so bright.
Yeah.
And at the time, first of all, he didn't want to go. But overnight, when he slept on it, realizing that he can actually get his vengeance if he takes this lady to where she wants.
Actually, it's the what? I don't want to say the African mentality. Like, if I use a Muzungu, I can reach my destination.
But she had money. She paid for his travel because it was very far where they were going. Dr. Zippy, you're in the dark.
I'm in the dark. Angela, put on the lights. My people have just decided to put off my lights. Okay, well, we are back.
So I think this young man, brilliant. He's a brilliant young man as far as I could see. Very resourceful. He had already seen that this is my ticket to getting my vengeance. Somebody's going to pay for my trip across the lake. They will pay for any meal that I have to eat. And even at the border, when they started harassing him, the fact that he was with the Muzungu,
he was allowed to go. Yes.
I think this guy was on this kind of mission from the beginning.
I think, Nana, I need to get a Muzungu too.
Okay, I'm not going to do that. When we started this conversation, what did I say, Dr. Zippy? I said, everybody their race. Don't interrupt. If Dr. Zippy wants to go to the Muzungu, it is not in my face to say. But this is my conclusion, because I still have a lot of time. My baby is looking for me right now because they know 7 o'clock it's over. This is my conclusion. you and I, as consumers, we also have a responsibility. We can't just sit here and talk about government and talk about China and talk about middlemen. No.
Yeah.
You and I also must take responsibility. We do business, we are business women. One of the things we can do is deliberately decide to engage with businesses that have demonstrated impactful measures, one, to protect the environment, human rights, child protection. We can deliberately decide that I am going to do business. You know, when you're doing business, you're giving your money to somebody. I will give my organization that has demonstrated impact on the environment, on human rights, child protection. We can start getting deliberate. And I'm talking to you and me and everybody who is on this platform, because we are all normal people and we are busy talking about the government should do this, the conglomerate should do this, China should stop doing this, but I bring it down to you and me, even you and I actually do something. That's one. Consumers, you and I, Dr. Zippy, we love our cosmetics. Today we are African, but let's just generally, women love our human hair.
Yes.
A refined documentary from India, how enslave women to grow their hair so that women
in Africa can buy. Yes.
We need to start being very conscious and deliberate about such purchases. That's what I'm saying. We are bringing this conversation to you and me. Let's stop talking, China, because now, you know, when I point at China, obviously, nitafanya nini? But when you bring it to me, Dr. Zippy, those are we need to be conscious about. Finally, I will just start, we've already touched on this, but I will also say, in terms of the responsible consumers, even as we buy phones, now we have the power. Computers, laptops, now we are getting electronic cars that are consuming the most, I don't know the numbers, but you can Google it, of something. In fact, that's why the price has skyrocketed in the last few years. But we are into this thing called electronic cars. Now we must go electronic.
Automatic, You
and I are consumers of those end products. What I'm ending my conversation today on this is that let us now also take responsibility at individual level. What are you doing? What am I doing? To stop what we watched on the movie. Child labor, child abuse, child soldiers, mines that are violating human rights. You and I have a responsibility. That's my challenge. And to everybody who is watching, let us be responsible consumers.
Exactly. In fact, to add on that, I want us not to forget Sergio. Sergio was too corrupt, and he's the one who started. You know, first I looked at that, I was like, you take money and you know very well you're not going to be going and traveling. I said that one is just wrong.
They're everywhere. If you have never encountered one of those,
thank you so much, Nana, and thank you so much, everyone, for being with us here to discuss. Sarah's Notebook is a lovely story. It's very deep, it's intense, and even if we are not looking at war in other countries, there is war within us, in our families, and how do we resolve all this? So these are things that we need to look at, and also trying to search for our purpose. Yes.
I love this movie, your selection of this movie, because it's not about what's happening there.
Yeah.
It's about what we can do about here in Nairobi, as
yeah, exactly.
That's what I love about this.
Yeah, and also finding our purpose, because I looked at Sarah. The sister told her there's money, there's freedom, but finding that purpose also, I think, was something very deep. And even for Laura to come to look for her sister, it's also to help her have that peace within her so that she can be able to continue with her purpose. And so the film talk has a lot to talk about. And I don't know, as a lecturer, I think this is one film that I think my students can have as a challenge to criticize, because there's just so much. So thank you guys so much. And until next time, have a lovely weekend. Tukunywe uji, chai, na coffee, na wine, na beer, and have a lovely weekend.
And stay safe. Stay home. Stay safe and stay home if you can, and stay safe.
Okay, bye. Thanks,
Bye.
Nana. Let me, I can see Rhone. Let me see if he will be frozen or he can say bye. Hi, Rhone. Can you say bye?
I can say bye, and Dr. Thank you so much. Or should we call you Dr.?
Yes,
thank you so
Dr.
much.
Yes.
This is the first time I'm here. I think you've seen my friend Hillary.
Yes.
We'll try to support it. It's a good initiative. It's a good deal. And thank you so much. And guys, you'll always know one thing, as Nana said, let's all take initiative. It starts with me.
Yes, true.
So
thank you so much.
Take care. Be safe. Kaa nyumbani. Wacha kusumbua tu town.
Hata wewe kaa nyumbani. Okay, bye.
Also, Hillary, thank you so much. Bye, Dr.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Oh. Bye, guys.